biology class for today. We have a reading and some questions about the reading is our assignment. So I thought we'd look at the questions and then we'll read together and then you can come back and answer the questions. Okay, you can go back and forth just like this. See, I'm looking at the questions. Now I'm looking at the reading. Now I'm looking at the questions again. Just open a new tab, each one of them in one tab, and you'll be in good shape. Okay, so we're going to read the related reading and answer the following questions. Now they have some vocabulary in them from the video yesterday. We'll just review that first so that you know what you're talking about when you answer the questions. All right? Populations are the members of a species, one single species in an ecosystem. All right? In our house, we have some people living. There's also a dog and a cat. There are three populations here: the humans, the dog, and the cat. They're all pretty small populations, but they're different species. So those are three of the populations in here. The community is all the populations of all the organisms. So that's us, the dog, the cat, the plants, and anything else that's alive in here. All right? So we're going to look at the reading and find out what the populations are. Okay? Which, if any, is a producer, which means are any of these populations made of organisms that make their own food using the most important chemical reaction on Earth, photosynthesis. So we're basically looking to see if there are plants, right? Because plants are most of what does photosynthesis. Okay? Which, if any, is a consumer? Which ones can't make their own food, if there are any of those? Okay? They have to get their energy by eating other organisms. All right? Whether those organisms are plants or animals or anything else. Okay? What started the chain of events described in the reading? Okay, something's going to happen. All right. What's the term used for the areas where the otters disappeared? And we're talking about sea otters in this reading. So now you know. Okay. How did these areas come to exist? All right, so we'll find that out as we read along. What is the name for this process? All right, so something happened here. Now it has a name. Because biology has a name for everything. We got a lot of vocab in this course. Okay, what's the current state of this ecosystem? Has it changed? All right, if it has, you got to say yes or no. What's going on right now? Okay, also included in the reading. And number 10, what lessons can we learn from these events? Not really in the reading. You got to use your head. Tell me what you think. All right? If you're not sure how to answer any of these questions, you can always ask me for some help. But I think they'll make more sense once we do the reading. And the other thing to keep in mind is, if you have them both open, you can go back and forth. Pick a question, go back to the reading, find the answer, type it in, try another question, come back. All right, but my advice is always to read first. Okay, so you have the overview of the whole reading passage. All right, and we're talking about flora and fauna. Flora means plants in an ecosystem. Fauna means the animals in the ecosystem. All right, so let's start reading. As cute and gentle as they may look, sea otters are serious predators. Sure, it's adorable that they each have a favorite rock that they keep tucked under their arm, but that rock is used to smash the shells of their prey. One thing they like to eat is a mollusk called abalone. It's related to clams and oysters and scallops and mussels. All right, those have shells that have to get smashed open. So the otters, if you've ever seen sea otters, they can float on their backs a lot for a long time. That's how they sleep. That's how they eat. All right, they don't usually come out of the water for much. They live in the ocean, the Pacific Ocean. We can find them off the coast of California. Okay, all right. So abalone isn't all they eat. They eat something else with a shell. We'll talk about that in a minute. And when otters crack open the shells of spiny animals called sea urchins, they're doing more than just snacking. They're shaping their entire ecosystem. All right, sea urchins, you may have seen shells of dead sea urchins washing up on the beach. They kind of look like a little pillow. Okay, but they're not soft. That shell is hard, and when that urchin was alive, that shell also had a lot of long, sharp spines sticking out of it to keep things from stepping on them or trying to eat them. A serious defense system. All right, they belong to a different group of animals called the echinoderms, which means spiny outside shells. Okay. All right, so now we've talked about two different species here. All right, the sea otters and the sea urchins. All right, that may be important. All right, let's continue reading. No one realized how important otters are to their ecosystems until they were almost gone. Beginning around 1700, hunters killed as many otters as they could find for their valuable fur. All right, here are humans stepping into an ecosystem and changing things. Okay? And this choice, like any choice, has consequences. We're about to find out what. Sea otters have the thickest fur of any species. Because remember what I told you, they always live in this water, and the ocean water off of the coast of California is not as warm as it is off the coast of New Jersey. Okay? The water down the shore here in New Jersey is affected by the Gulf Stream, which is a warm ocean current, bringing warm water up from near the tropics. There is a current going past the California coast too, but that's cold water. So, okay, the sea otters need protection from that cold because they're mammals. They have fur, they're warm-blooded, just like us. All right? So, they have what was considered to be valuable fur. The thickest sea otters have the thickest fur of any species, with up to 1 million hairs per square inch. Okay? You, up here on your head, have about 2,200 hairs per square inch. Okay? So this sea otter has 500 times as much hair in one area of skin that you do. So that's really thick. Okay? All right, so it's thick, it's soft. Okay? Because it also helps in it because it's got oil on it to keep it waterproof as well. All right, so bringing in around 1700, we're hunting them for this wonderful fur. Over the next 200 years, fur hunting had reduced their population to less than 2,000. I'm sure there were many, many times that many otters when people started this fur hunting for them. When the otter population was decimated, which means cut way back, all right, the sea urchin population exploded. All right, nobody's eating the sea urchins. They can reproduce and reproduce and reproduce. All right. That was bad news for a type of seaweed called kelp. All right, that's another organism, kelp, seaweed. Okay. Kelp can grow hundreds of feet tall, creating underwater forests. These habitats are incredibly biodiverse, filled with a wide variety of species. Lots of things like to eat kelp, things like to hide in the kelp. Okay? With the otters gone, armies of urchins devoured kelp, destroying entire forests. All right, sea urchins live on the bottom, and they can move around, and they would just kind of come up and start eating kelp from the bottom. All right, and once they brought it down, they really destroyed it, ate it all up. It could not grow back. All right. Then the organisms living there, including the urchins, disappeared because once some urchins ate up all the food, they either died or had to move on and look for more. So even the urchins are gone. Kelp forests were replaced by lifeless areas known as urchin barrens. All right, now we had some questions over here about what started a chain of events and what happened and what is it called. Right in here is where you want to look for that information if you have to look back. Okay. This is an example of what biologists call the cascade effect, a series of extinctions that begins when just one organism is removed from an ecosystem. All right, that's how delicate the balance of nature is. We eliminate one species and everything could end up dying off, and that's what extinction is. Dead, there aren't any more. Okay? Fortunately, in 1911, the United States, Russia, Japan, and Britain signed a treaty banning the hunting of sea otters. With the help of wildlife experts, sea otters are slowly returning and bringing kelp forests back with them, which could be good news for a lot of other things. Okay? All right, if you have any questions about the worksheet or about the reading passage, you can certainly reach out to me and let me know. We can go over it again together or whatever you need. Okay? I'm looking forward to seeing what you get from this article and what lesson you think we can learn. And we'll be talking again soon. Thanks for coming to class today. Bye.